make the crepes. I said crepes, just floppy crepes. Crepes. Hello and welcome to this episode of Happy Baking. Last summer, I made a short video about crepe cakes, and your comments were so excited and got me hankering to make it into a full episode. Plus, when I sent samples home with my family members, they loved it too, and they've requested it again and again and again. And I get it. There's a lot to love about crepe cakes. Once you get the hang of making crepes, they're surprisingly easy to make and assemble. And with just two main components, crepes and whipped cream, you can adjust the flavors really easily to make a bunch of different variations. In this episode, I'm going to make vanilla, lemon, raspberry, and chocolate crepes, and then turn them into some really tasty crepe cakes. Crepe cakes are also make-ahead friendly, plus they're easy to slice and so beautiful. This is really such an impressive project and so much fun to make at home. I'm gonna guide you through the whole process step by step. So let's get crepe making. Let's talk about how to do it and why it works. This cake is made up of many layers of crepes. The size of the cake can vary depending on the size of the pan you use to make the crepes. And the height of the cake can also vary because you can pretty much build them as tall as you like. The crepes are going to be sandwiched together with almost equally thin layers of whipped cream. Personally, I like the classic look, which is to leave the cake unfrosted around the outside so you can see all the delicate edges of the crepe, but you can also opt to frost the entire cake or glaze it with something that fully or partially coats the sides. After assembly, the cake is refrigerated, and while it chills, the crepes absorb moisture from the whipped cream. This makes the crepes softer and the whipped cream firmer and more sliceable. Crepe cakes can also work with other fillings like jam, curd, or even ganache. Or you can add flavorings to the crepes themselves or the whipped cream to make a unique combination all your own. Let's talk about making crepes. Now, crepes can take a few tries to get the hang of, but once you do, they really are surprisingly easy and a lot of fun. One of my favorite things about crepes is that they keep really well, so they can be made ahead of time. You can store crepes by stacking them so that each one is separated by a parchment circle, then wrap them tightly in plastic wrap. Crepes keep in the refrigerator for up to 2 days and in the freezer for up to 2 months. Just thaw them overnight in the refrigerator before using. This is a great way to make this cake even easier because you can make the crepes sometime ahead and then you just have them ready for the day you want to assemble the cake. They're so easy, we're basically just gonna whisk all the ingredients together to combine. First, we'll whisk the eggs and milk in a medium bowl until they're well incorporated. Then add the flour and whisk well to combine. Add the melted butter, salt, and vanilla, if using, and whisk well until combined. And if you're adding any other flavorings to your crepe batter, you'd add them at the end too. Then cover the bowl and let the batter rest in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes and up to overnight. Heat a medium nonstick skillet or crepe pan, mine is about 8 inches or 20 centimeters, over medium heat. Once it's hot, spray the pan lightly with nonstick spray. Ladle about 70 grams or 1/4 cup of the batter into the pan, tilting and swirling the pan to cover the base evenly. Crepes don't take long to cook. Cook until the bottom of the crepe is set, 15 to 30 seconds, then gently flip and cook it for 30 to 45 seconds more until it appears set and a little bit browned on both sides. Once the crepe is cooked, remove it and transfer it to a plate and top it with a round of parchment paper. Repeat with the remaining batter, continuing to stack the crepes on the plate, separating each one with a parchment circle as you stack. You can just use a typical silicone spatula to flip your crepes. Really any tool that you want. You definitely want something that isn't gonna scratch your pan, so no metal tools. But this is my favorite tool to use. This is a spatula designed by friend and colleague Rose Levy-Berenbaum. And this is actually her reduction spatula. That's what these numbers are for. Basically, if you're trying to reduce liquid, you would put it into the pot, and if you knew you were reducing it by half and it was at the number 2, you'd know you need to get it down to number 1. but it makes an incredible crepe flipper because it's almost the length of the pan. So I'm just obsessed with it for that purpose. And I told her, I said, you didn't realize you also invented the best crepe flipper. Add more nonstick spray as needed throughout the cooking process to make sure that the crepes don't stick. Cool the crepes completely, and if desired, wrap them for storage. It's possible to make different flavors of crepes. In this episode, I've included lemon and chocolate variations, so we can make a few different flavors of cakes. Let's talk about what makes this a cake: the whipped cream. It's not difficult to make whipped cream or even flavored whipped cream for crepe cakes. Still, it's important that the cream is thick enough to build the most structurally sliceable cake. It's important to whip the cream to stiff peaks, but it should still be smooth and not clumpy. Some ways to flavor the whipped cream to dress up your crepe cake: you can add small amounts of fruit puree or a spread like jam or curd to whipped cream without destroying the desired stiff texture, and it adds a lot of flavor. Cocoa powder makes a tasty chocolate whipped cream, and other things like ground spices, citrus zest, or flavorful liqueurs are some other nice options. Let's assemble the crepe cake. First up, the classic layer cake look. This is the standard way to build a crepe cake. The crepes are layered with the whipped cream just until it's the desired height. Usually you're going for kind of that layer cake look, so you want it pretty tall. Choose a platter or cake stand to build your crepe cake on, and make sure you make room for it in your refrigerator before you start. Spread a small amount of whipped cream onto the center of the platter or cake stand, whatever you're using, and place a crepe onto it. Add another 20 grams or about 2 tablespoons of whipped cream on top of the crepe and spread it into a thin, even layer all the way to the edges of the crepe. Then top with another crepe. Continue this process until you've used all of the crepes and the whipped cream. The cake should be nice and tall when you're done. Transfer the assembled cake to the refrigerator. There's no need to cover it, but if you want to, just cover it loosely with plastic wrap. Then chill the cake for at least 4 hours and up to 24 hours before finishing, slicing, and serving. There's another way to build a crepe cake that actually makes it look sort of like a rose. In this method, the crepes are cut into strips and then built into a spiral shape. The lacy, delicate edges of the crepe become petal-like, and it is just so beautiful. I'm sharing exactly how to do this over on my Substack, so be sure to head over there to subscribe so you never miss out on exclusive recipes like these. Hey, happy bakers, want to check out these beautiful pita I'm taking out of the oven? They are straight from my friends at Wildgrain, who are the sponsor of today's episode. If you haven't heard of Wildgrain, they are the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and even fresh pastas. It's truly like a little artisan bakery being delivered straight to your door. And in fact, Wildgrain works with independent bakers to craft each of their baked goods and pastas. Then when you're ready to enjoy, every Wildgrain product bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less. No thawing required. Plus, freezing each item locks in flavor, nutrients, and texture without adding any preservatives. I mean, look at these fluffy pita. They are so great to snack on. The selection changes with the season, so there's always something new to try. I think the creme brulee cheesecake sounds so good. Wildgrain also has gluten-free, vegan, and new protein options to fill your box with. If you want to check out Wildgrain, click on the link in the video description and use my code HAPPYBAKING to get $30 off your first box. Plus, you'll get free croissants for life. Thanks again, Wildgrain. Now let's get back to crepe caking. The thing I love about crepe cakes is that they really are so beautiful all on their own, but you can add some little finishes to give them just a little bit of extra flair. I topped this chocolate crepe cake with a little bit of ganache, letting the excess drip down the sides. I used a little bit of extra lemon curd to top the lemon crepe cake, and I think it would be really delicious with some curly strands of citrus zest, or even with some fresh fruit. And of course, the raspberry rose crepe cake is pretty beautiful all on its own, so it didn't need anything to make it any fancier. All right, let's give these a little bit of a slice, and I think I'm gonna have to have a taste. Do you see how smoothly the knife went through that. One of the things that I love so much about these cakes is that they're so easy. Look how my knife just slides through that. Whereas sometimes layer cakes can be a little intimidating to slice, pies can be a little intimidating to slice. This is just like butter, like room temperature butter all the way down. It is so good. I mean, come on. We made this. We made this. Look how beautiful it is. Ah! Okay, we just gotta taste one. I can't help it. The chocolate is speaking to me today. The thing that is so wonderful about crepe cakes is that they are decadent and still light. They're light in texture, they don't feel heavy. My fork is falling right through it, the knife fell right through it. It's just awesome. And it has all the like pomp of a layer cake, a fancy, fancy layer cake, but in so many ways it is so much easier, and also the end result is almost more impressive because we have so many layers. I can't wait to dive into some of these other crepe cake flavors, and I really hope that this episode inspires you to make your own crepes and maybe even your own crepe cake. I hope you love this episode as much as I did. All of the delicious recipes you see in this video are linked in the video description below. Be sure to head to my Substack for this exclusive Raspberry Rose crepe cake version. You can find more delicious recipes like these on my website, ErinJeanneMcDowell.com. Find me on Instagram at eMcDowell, on TikTok at Erin J. McDowell, and on Facebook as Erin Jeanne McDowell. Until next time, wishing you lots of happy baking and crepe making. Let's count all the layers now. 1, 2. No, just kidding.